pages 121 to 229. Okay, guys. This in Refugee, okay, by Ellen Grass. I love this book, so I hope that you also enjoy this amazing book. Okay. So this is a tale of 3 kids, and we're gonna start off with excuse me, Mahmoud, okay? And then we're going to go to Isabel, and then to Joseph, and then we're gonna keep on switching, okay? Okay, so what do you think about tomorrow? How would you react if people kept on saying tomorrow, manana? How would you feel about this? And also, do you think, why Dad's sort of trying to be in a light, cheery mood. Do you think that this is helping or not? And also, I wanted to ask you about these Turkish men, and now they have to pay you gotta pay for rent in the mall, right? What do you think about this? And, I also wanted to ask you about this other person, right? There was someone in a BMW. What did you think about the man who was there? And also, I wanted to ask you then, I also wanted to ask you about something else. The boat was there. What did you think about this? And how do you think that Mahmoud thought about this? And all in all, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about, how do you think that all of these people, all these kids, what is something that they all face? Okay, we're going to Joseph now. Okay, so what I wanted to ask you about Joseph was, how do you think that Joseph felt that they were getting near to Cuba? Of course he was happy, but whenever I say, how do you think that this guy felt, and you already know that he felt happy, that I mean some adjectives, okay? And then if we stopped, right, a doctor came from medical quarantine. How do you think that Joseph felt about this? And also, what about Papa? Do you think that Papa will, pass the medical exam? And then Joseph slapped his father in the face, right? And what do you think about Joseph lying to his Papa? Do you think that this was good or not good at that? And I wanted to ask you one more thing. Everyone asked this, banana. What did you think about this? And do you think that will still say banana, 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 banana every day? And also, I wanted to ask you about something else, one more thing. And what I wanted to ask you about was this. Do you think that they will be able to get into Cuba? Okay, so Isabel. So last time we saw Isabel, she was diving after the person who had gone overboard, right? Senor Castillo. Did you think that this was a foolish thing to do or a brave thing to do? And did you think that Isabel was going to drown? Also, what do you think about Senor Castillo? Do you think that he will be able to survive? And also, what do you think about their situation? There's a lot of water there, the engine is down, and it's just really, really, really bad, right? And do you think that they will be able to survive about this? And also, Lito says a storm is coming. Uh-oh. What did you think about this? And do you think that they'll be able to survive in the storm? And all in all, Isabel's life is pretty bad right now, right? It's right now very, very hard. How do you think that if you had been one of the people there, what would you have done to help the situation? Okay, Mahmoud. Okay, what do you think about the raft? Right? It wasn't a boat, it was a raft. And 30 refugees were waiting to get on board. Do you think that this was going to be a good idea? And also, excuse me, then so they all sat down, right? And then water there were, and then the dinghy exploded, right? Before I wanted to tell you, I wanted to talk to you about that. I wanted to ask you, how do you think that Mahmoud felt on this raft? What do you think that this raft symbolizes in Mahmoud's life? I think that it actually symbolizes that Mahmoud is right now in a very dangerous situation, that he could fall at any time, but he's getting across the water at least a little, right? It's a very dangerous situation, but he's still afloat. I think that's what this means. Until the rocks, right? The rocks are sort of the bad guys, so sometimes things don't work out well, right? What do you predict is going to happen next, and do you think that they will be able to survive? Okay, Joseph. Okay, so other ships are passing through. Why do you think that the other ships are passing through when the St. Louis can't? Also, I wanted to ask you about Shindig. How do you feel about Shindig? And what do you think about Shindig, like destroying the suite? How do you like Shindig's behavior? And what do you think that Shindig was trying to express to them? And also, his father, Papa says this: "You said if I was quiet, if I stood very still, they wouldn't come for me." But Joseph had lied. How do you think that Joseph felt about this? And also, what do you think about Nazis in the first place? And how do you think that you would have reacted if you had been Joseph? And what do those Nazis? So I wanted to. This is actually this is sort of like an activity slash. Yeah, it's an activity. What I wanted you to do is this. Try to research about Nazis, and then after you've researched about Nazis, come up with a presentation, and it's really fun because then you can learn more about the Nazis, how brutal they were, and you can really get that passion. You can really get what the Jews were going through, and it helps you more to understand World War II. It helps you more to understand life of the Jews back then. So it's a really good project to do. You'll learn a lot about Jews, but that's optional. Okay, Isabel. So do you think that because water, she's shoveling water out of the boat, right? But more water is leaking in. What do you think about this? And do you think that, and I wanted to ask you about how Abulata died, right? Abulata died. I'm not very sure how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'm not very good at Spanish. But anyway, loss. How would you describe loss? And this loss, what do you feel about loss? And also, how would you, do you think that life is a song or a symphony? And how would you describe your life? And how would you describe the symphony of your life that's taking you through right now? Is it right now, the symphony, is it slow and sad? Or is it happy and excited? Okay, Mahmoud. So, Hannah, right? Hannah was, what did you think about the life preservers? Do you think they were useless, right? They were useless. Do you think that people, they just do things to make money, right? What do you think about this? And what do you think about the fact that people would do anything just so that they will get money? and then there was a dinghy, right? Another dinghy came, and then so they gave Hannah, right? Mahmoud's sister was gone, and his father and brother were also gone. Okay, so how do you think that Mahmoud's mother, right? How do you think that she felt? And if you had been her, how would you have felt about this? Do you think that Mahmoud had made a good decision? And can you compare this to anything in your life? Okay, Joseph. So, I wanted to ask you about Joseph's father. Do you think that Joseph's father will ever be the same again? Do you think that Joseph's father, do you think that he was traumatized, sort of, right? What do you think about this? And how do you think that, I mean, Joseph's father has been through a lot though, right? And it's just one of the terrible things that the Nazis have done. So, again, do that project. It's gonna be really fun. Okay, and then so Mama had a plan to go to the ship's doctor, right? But the thing was, I wanted to ask you, so his mother had drank because the doctor wanted Joseph's mother to drink it right then, right? But Mama tried to get the sleeping medicine so that Papa would sleep. Okay, what did you think about this? And now both Joseph's father and mother are sort of eliminated from the game. Now there's only Joseph, and Ruthie doesn't really count because she's young. How do you think that this is going to, how do you think that this is going to work out? And his father talks about the concentration camp and people drowning. Now let me just tell you, I don't really want to talk about this because this is really absolutely horrible. And this really shows how his father had been treated. But let me just tell you, let's just skip that part. Let's just act like it never happened. Even if sometimes it's serious things we shouldn't ignore. But still, this is best not to talk about. But anyway, what did you think about the treatment anyway? I'm just gonna ask you that. I'm not going to go deep into there. And also, Joseph's father jumped into the sea. What did you think about this? Do you think that Joseph's father had good reason to do this? And did you think that Joseph's father was going to survive? Also, I wanted to ask you, do you think that he was foolish when he jumped in? Okay, Isabel, somewhere on the Caribbean Sea, right, in 1994. So, what do you think that sometimes beautiful things can be in horrible things? What do you think about this? And do you think that there only should be horrible things in horrible things? Or do you think that there should be beauty and horror mixed together? What do you think that beauty and horror mixed together? What do you think it is? And also, her mother is sort of half a little in labor, right? What do you think about this? Right? And then they were there, right? They thought that they were there, but it was actually the Bahamas, right? Oh man, they're in the Bahamas. How did you feel about this? How did they felt about this? How would you have reacted to this, right? And also, I wanted to ask you about the people, and people in the Bahamas. They were nice, right? What do you think about this? And also, I wanted to ask you about this. And kindness is really helpful, right? How do you think that kindness affects the world? And do you think that that is a secret to peace? Just wanted to ask you that because this is a real big subject. And I actually advise you The Wrinkle of Times, a really good book. I was just reminded of it because, well, you'll sort of see. It doesn't really go up because I don't know why, but I was just thought of A Wrinkle in Time, which is another Newbery Medal winning book. So hope that you check that out. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I don't know why that just came out. So, okay, Mahmoud. Okay. So I wanted to ask you about Mahmoud's mother. Do you think that Mahmoud's mother had the will to live? Do you think that Mahmoud, how do you think that this affected Mahmoud's mother? Do you think that Mahmoud's mother will ever have a daughter again? Also, they were there, right? And then they had to survive the night. Oh, this is going to be hard, right? This is going to be really, 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 really hard. But they're going to have to do it, right? Well, let's try. Oh, but I do think that they'll try. And do you think that they'll survive the storm? Okay, Joseph. Okay, so people were just, jumping in. Some people were jumping in, and Joseph's father was saying, "Let me die, let me die." What do you feel about this? And also, what do you think about the brave man who had just jumped in? And Papa, do you think that Papa's father should live, or do you think that Papa's father should not live? Okay, and then look, and then Joseph rips his shirt, right? And I wanted to read you this. It's this. All around Joseph, passengers wept, but Joseph now felt more stunned than sad. His father was gone. In many ways, his father had never really come back from the concentration camp. Not the father Joseph knew and remembered. Not the father he loved. He had come back in body, but not in spirit. Joseph's father was gone. His mother was unconscious. His little sister was all by herself. And they would never let Joseph's family into Cuba now. Not after his father had gone mad. Joseph and his family would be all sent back to Germany, back to the Nazis. Joseph's world was falling apart, and he didn't see any way to put it back together again. Okay, so sorry, there wasn't the shirt ripping, but I was just reminded of this. And do you think that Joseph would do this? Would really rip his shirt? And do you think that Joseph's world really is falling apart? And how do you think that Joseph could mend his world? Okay, Isabel. What do you think about the little boat is falling apart? Do you think that they will be able to survive? What do you think about the word tomorrow? Do you like it or do you hate it? And also, I wanted to ask you, do you think that Yvonne actually did the best they could? And also, I wanted to ask you about something else. And what I wanted to ask you about is this. So what like some people would get out of the water, would get into the water, right? Do you think that this is a good idea, or do you think that this will cause him more trouble? Okay, Mahmoud. So Mahmoud, there was this boat, and right? In this boat there was Mahmoud's father, right? And the Greek Coast Guard ship. Oh, this is so happy, right? What did you think about this? And do you think that there actually is hope mixed in death and bad luck? And also, do you think that Mahmoud, do you think that he's actually going to get to Germany? And I also wanted to ask you about when they got to the shore, right? They would, and what did you think about his father who said to check the other people to see if there were shoes that fit them? Do you think that this was right to do or a bad thing to do? Okay, Joseph. Okay, so they were there, right? They were still on the ship, and then there was also a policeman, right? What do you think about this policeman who has saved the life? And also, I wanted to ask you about something else. And what I wanted to ask you about was Joseph's father had to be sedated. How do you think that Joseph felt about this? And Joseph didn't feel and why do you think that Mama was so sad? And then he said, Manana, right? It's always going to be tomorrow. Do you think that there ever will be a tomorrow when they will actually go or not? Okay, Isabel. Okay, so the water. How do you think that Isabel felt in the water, right? But then I wanted to ask you, the baby is coming, right? If you had been Isabel, how would you have felt? And were you worried, or were you excited, or were you happy? And also, then they began to make up names, right? They were going to do some names. And I wanted to ask you about, do you think that the floating coffin, do you think that's a good name? And then Isabel's grandfather says slowly, it's the St. Louis. We've heard that before. This is getting, maybe there's a connection between all the stories. Who do you think that this person is? If you knew the St. Louis, do you think that this person is just a random person, Isabel's grandfather, or do you think that he's been in another story? Okay, so I wanted to ask you, Yvonne's, the water around Yvonne had been a dark red cloud, right? Oh man, Yvonne's right leg was a bloody mess. So I don't really like these violent parts, so I tried to just skip over them. But I just wanted to ask you this: how do you think that Yvonne's felt about this, and do you think that Yvonne will survive? Okay, let's stop talking about this. Okay, Mahmoud. Well, how do you think that Mahmoud felt about being in another tent city? And camping's actually fun, but what's the difference for Mahmoud? And why do you think that he still wants to leave? Right? And also, he did his prayers, right? But the other tourists weren't very happy. What did you feel about this? And if you had been a tourist, would you have been happy about this, or would you have been not happy at all about this? And also, they had to take a train to the border of Macedonia, and they had to try to sneak across that at the night. What do you feel about this? And do you think that they will be able to survive? Okay, Joseph. So, I want that Renata and Evelyn, their father came. What do you feel about this, and do you think that this is unfair or not? And also, I wanted to ask you, how do you think that they felt that they were going back to Germany? Maybe, right? But that isn't necessarily the case. Maybe they could go to the American coast. Do you think that they will be able to go into America, or do you think that they'll have to go back to Germany? Okay, and then now here's the time when he rips his shirt collar, right? He's gonna have to leave his papa behind. How do you think that Joseph felt about this? And what's one thing that always repeats and repeats and repeats itself in this book? It's loss. Loss is really bad, right? For some people, and I just wanted to say that loss, even if we think it's horrible, right? I guess a normal wouldn't be the right word. Every loss is very, very hard for people, but in a way, it is normal. Many people, it's like death. It's terrible, right? It's sad. It's terrible, but in another way, it's normal, right? Truthfully, millions of people die every day, but millions are born every day too. So you sort of need to get used to this rhythm of life, but sometimes we just don't want to talk about those things, right? So let's just keep on going to Isabel, okay? Though, well, Yvonne was dead. Oh, how did you feel about this? How do you think that Isabel felt about this? It sort of took a piece out of Isabel. What piece? How do you think that Yvonne, do you think that Isabel will make some new friends? But what will be different about the friends than Yvonne? And also, Do you think that burying at sea? Why? If you have been Isabel, would you have liked Yvonne to get buried at sea? And if you have, and why do you think that you would not like Yvonne to get buried at sea? Also, they shot the sharks, right? And then the industrial's cap, Yvonne's industrial's cap is the only thing that they have left of Yvonne. And then we see that they have reached Miami. And Yvonne had just died, right? He had just missed it. How do you feel about this? And what do you think about Senor Castillo's dream to open a restaurant? And loss also sometimes makes hope die. And it's just really sad, right? But anyway, we finished for today. We went all the way to 228 pages. Hope that you had a great time with me. What do you predict is going to happen next for all of those 3 characters, okay? And then, excuse me, also, what was your favorite part in these chapters and then the whole book so far? How do you like this amazing book so far also? And what are your least favorite character and your favorite character? If you have a least favorite character and a favorite character from all of the kids' stories, you can just do that, or you can just do it from the whole book, okay? But anyway, hope that you had a great time with me on Refugee, and I hope that you read the rest of the book, okay guys? Have a great rest of your day or night.